Hi G-Mama, today we will be talking about 10 easy to implement tips to plan your pregnancy. And most of them can be used during your pregnancy as well. So here are a few things that I would like to top 10 for you. Of course, this list could be 100 plus. Depending on who is talking to you, and if you go to the internet there would be so many tips that would overwhelm you, so I just wanted to cut short to the really important things. Some of them will be very obvious for you, and some of them will be good if you are under the age of 35 as well, but especially if you are above the age of 35 like me. So here are a few things. The first thing, very obvious, is to see your doctor. If you don't have one, you may like to, as I said in my previous video, ask a friend if they have a general practitioner that they want to refer you to, that they trusted and you will potentially like to. So see this doctor. And the reason I'm saying this, especially if you are above the age of 35, is because you probably already have concerns that other moms may not have, and you would like to have a list. And if I were you, I would definitely make a list of things that you found you couldn't find a straight answer on the internet, or you really are worried about. And if you can, another tip is to take your partner or a supporting person with you. Maybe they will have other questions that you didn't even know they had, and they will be able to ask your doctor as well. So the doctor will be able to order a few exams, ask about current medications that you may have, or medical conditions that you may have, or family or vaccinations, recommend specific exams for your particular case. And that is very important. That's the first thing that you should do before you try to conceive, is get a doctor that you trust, go and see them, and make a list before you even go to this appointment to ask all the questions that you have pre-conceiving. Other thing that I would say for you to do is to start taking folic acid, and that can be taken either by itself or with a pregnancy multivitamin. That could even be better for you. Depending on the country you are, there will be lots of brand, but just when you go to your doctor, ask them their opinion about a brand that they trust and they recommend. In my case, I started taking folic acid from the moment I started to conceive, but it's recommendable that you try you start taking even 3 months before you actively start trying. You should take at least 0.5 milligram tablets daily, or you should take with the multivitamin as long as it says a minimum of 0.5 milligrams of folic acid on the multivitamin. You can tell your husband or your partner to take that daily as well. You don't have to, but the doctors say that it's good if they take. And another thing you can do as well is to continue taking even after your first trimester. Really, I still take it, and I'm in the second part of my second trimester. Another thing you should do is stop smoking and stop with alcohol and any social drugs that you may take at this moment. There are not a lot of studies about alcohol, so that's why I wanted to make this a point here, because the alcohol part and the smoking part may be very obvious because there's a lot more studies about it, but the alcohol part, there's not enough studies to prove that you should stop, and that's why many moms continue drinking. But I put here the last paper from the European Board of College and Obstetrics and Gynecologists, and they recommend you to completely stop. It's not worth the risk. And you need to remember that during a pregnancy that's gonna last 10 months, you're probably going through occasions like Christmas, New Year's, your birthday. We want a pregnancy with less risk as possible, especially if you are 35 plus. Yeah. Another one is to have a sensible exercise routine, and the reason I say sensible exercise routine is because I've seen studies that says that if you have a strong, extreme exercise routine, you may have trouble getting pregnant. So if you are doing extremely high intensity type of exercise, actually that can be also a problem, as well as completely not doing anything. Also ask your doctor for what they would recommend you in terms of exercising routine from the moment of trying to conceive and even when you are pregnant. I particularly continue doing yoga. It's very good for me because have meditation is quiet, but it's also quite strong, but not too much impact. And also walks are very good. Do exercises, whatever it is that strengthen your shoulder, back and core, because this is the part that will be working more when you are putting the weight of pregnancy, and you may feel a lot of discomfort on your back and your shoulders, maybe your neck. And so the more you can strengthen these muscles, better for you to carry a full-term baby. Another thing that I would recommend is to talk to a nutritionist if you can. See someone that can recommend a good diet for you and your partner that would be just including foods that you may be neglecting in your diet, that can help you to strengthen your body for pregnancy. They can even tell you to take some vitamin. Today we have a very, very busy schedule, and sometimes we don't have time to think about what we're eating and to prepare our own food, and we may take away a lot. So they will be able to give you some good options, something that works for you and for your partner, and that will definitely strengthen your body. You'll feel more energy, you'll feel your body more ready to welcome life. Tip number 6 is abstain from unprocessed foods such as unpasteurized milk, soft cheeses, cold processed meats, pate, raw seafoods and raw smoked seafoods. And usually when you see a doctor in that first appointment, they will, if they are good, they should give you a list of things that you should abstain when you are pregnant, but you not necessarily need to abstain before you're pregnant. But because some of you may be addicted to a few of these foods, for example, I'm addicted to Japanese, so it was really, really hard for me to stop cold turkey when I found out that I was pregnant. So if you can reduce and avoid those things that you may like, that will make your life as pregnant much easier. And the reason why you should completely stop this when you are pregnant, when you find yourself pregnant, is because those foods have a high risk of having a bacteria called listeria, and this bacteria, if contracted during your pregnancy, and pay attention because sometimes you don't find that you're pregnant for the first 3 to 4 weeks, there is high fetal death rate from 30 to 50%. So I know that may be hard for you to cut on the Japanese or the soft cheeses or whatever it is, but that's better to start reducing before you get pregnant. Tip number 7, I would say that to be tested for rubella immunization. And I didn't know that, but luckily I actually took the vaccine 1 year before, and most women already have this immunization, but I was told that can wear off. If you I'm not sure, just take the test, and then they can be sure that you already have this immunization, because it can be a very concerning situation if you find out that you are pregnant. So be tested for that. Number 8, I would say consider health insurance cover. And this is very personal to everyone, and depending on where you are in the world, because public systems are very different. In Australia, I'm very lucky because according to my doctor, she really said that most women find it useless to have it in Australia, in Sydney, particularly where I live in Sydney, because the public system here is so good and cover everything. And she also mentioned that if anything I need to do, which would require health cover to cover, I would still need to pay a massive gap, which in many cases it could be just the gap of 2 years that I'm paying during my waiting period plus my pregnancy anyway. So that, for me, my opinion, with my doctor, I decided to not have the private insurance. That was me. Now, that's something you need to talk to your doctor, to your partner. If you feel more secure, by all means do that. This is not about having a health insurance. This is about considering having one. Whether this is right for you or not, talk to your doctor, talk to your partner, and talk to yourself and see what makes you more comfortable about. Number 9 is visit your dentist before you get pregnant, because during pregnancy there's a few procedures that you cannot do. And I also read, and I put in a blog as well, that there's an estimate suggestion that up to 18% of premature birth may be triggered by periodontal disease, which is a chronic infection of the gums. It's probably good for you to check and tell your dentist that you're planning to get pregnant, and they can order any, can recommend any exams that it's good for you to do pre-pregnancy. And tip number 10 is get mentally healthy, if you aren't already feeling like that. So basically, how you thinking, feeling, acting, and coping with life as is. If you're trying to get pregnant, especially if you're trying for a few months or maybe a couple of years already, you may be already stressed or putting a lot of pressure on yourself and your partner in life. Or maybe your job requires a lot of you, and if you're an entrepreneur like me, you may be feeling quite stressed. And it maybe not related to the baby or to conceiving, but it may be a stressful or anxious feeling. So all those previous topics that I say about nutrition, about exercising, help you to maintain a good health state. So meditation definitely helps as well. But also make sure that you're okay. Talk to your partner, talk to friends. If you're not, talk to your health provider to see if there is any specific medications or a specific psychologist that you need to see to make sure that you are in a healthy mind. Because when you get pregnant, hormones will be a little bit all over the place, and it can be very overwhelming for you, especially if you are over the age of 35, receiving so much information that may or may not be right for you. Okay, so I would definitely recommend that. This is probably should be my first tip. Be very mindful and mentally healthy to consider starting the next stage of your life, being a mom and being pregnant and receiving this life. So meditation, walks, talking to people that are close to you, sharing your concerns, and making sure you address the concerns with doctors if it's the case, all to make sure that you are in peace with the decisions and with the next stages of your life. So those 10 tips, as I say, could be turning 100 more. But this for me was the 10 things that I did, and I would recommend everyone to do because they're really, really important. And I'm sure you are a savvy mom and you already went online and looked for a lot of those tips. But this is the reason why it was important for me and for many of my friends who had babies above the age of 35. So this is it for me. If you have any questions about these specific topics, or if there is any other things that you think I should have addressed, and I may be writing another blog about it, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, share with your other friends that are intending to have baby after the age of 35. And I hope to see you in the website, in the blog, or here for the next video. Ciao, ciao. Bye.